What's going on, everybody? I'm coming at you with a different video, and as you can see, this is a different video. It's a little bit different than the other videos I've been doing, but today I'm doing a spotlight on To Live and Let Die in LA, and I'm here with the founders, Neil McNally and Steve. How do I pronounce your last name, just so I pronounce that correctly?
Kill Cullen.
Steve Poland.
Jeez, but that sounded scary there. So
Yeah, well, it's
Sorry, it's the only way to say it. I
No, it's okay. Well, I
apologize.
mean, for somebody that loves James Bond, I would hope that you would pronounce your name, given that it's spelled like that. So that's pretty cool.
I have a license to kill Cullen. So.
yeah, there we go.
Awesome. So, anyways, the reason why I'm here with you guys today, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this with me, is because
Of
you
course.
Thank you
guys.
for inviting us.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're very welcome. You guys do screenings of James Bond movies, and I went to the last one that you guys did. You guys did Doctor No, and it was at the Culver Theater, which I think is one of my favorite theaters now.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I
Oh, it's
saw Real
amazing.
Top with Ed Niemeyer for the Q&A, and that was pretty cool. And then, so tell us how this started and what your intentions are now. And by the way, like the screening it was super packed. It was very fun.
Yeah.
And I had a wonderful time. And Doctor No for me was one of those movies where as a kid I kind of thought it was boring, and I could understand because I was like 7 or 8. And that's the thing, like my love for James Bond films began because my dad this was like in the 90s, so GoldenEye would come out and Tomorrow Never Dies would come out, and I would have friends in school that would talk about it, and that would kind of be like a little thing that we would talk about would be the James Bond movies. And yeah, so it's just kind of been a thing that's just uh
Yeah.
going on. But yeah, how did that come about with you guys?
Well, I mean, I've been a Bond fan since I was 13. My dad bought me a stack of the novels from a secondhand store that we happened to be at, so that began the whole thing for me. And so I've always been into it. And recently I started to watch more of the YouTube content of all the people that do YouTube content with Bond, and I had no idea that there was that in depth for a while. So I was like, well, there's not, and there's clubs popping up. One in mainly on the East Coast, one in London. There's a few other, there's some in Germany, and but no, other than the East Coast, nothing on the West Coast. So I started to think, well, why isn't there one in Los Angeles? It's the film capital of the. I mean, it's it's supposed to be the film capital. Um, so I put some feelers out online. I didn't really know how to start it. Then I found Steve online, and then we began talking. He had a similar thought as well, and we just kind of met up for drinks one night and started that whole conversation. And here we are, about 8 or 9 months after the fact. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
I was at last summer, I was at Gatherall, David Zaritsky and Joe Darlington, Mike Poplawski, Kyle Barbeau, Luke Taggart from Bond's Apartment, a lot of these social media guys and content creators that are big in the Bond community. They would kind of throw this sort of party and invite Bond people from everywhere. And he asked me, what's going on in LA? And I said, well, there's a lot of Bond stuff, but there's no kind of, core group or anything that's kind of pulling everybody together. And even my dad was like, hey, maybe when you go back to LA, look into something like that. And I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And so I kind of like before I thought, okay, maybe I'll start something. I don't know. And I didn't want to do anything by myself. So I kind of did a Google search, and the first thing that came up, and this was a few days before I did the Google search, was Neil put a feeler out on like Reddit,
yeah, Reddit. Yeah, that's what it was.
and I saw Neil's post, and I went, "Whoa, hey, this guy's like, we're on the same wavelength, man." So I reached out to Neil, and I told him my experience at Gatherall, and yeah, like Neil said, we met up, had a couple drinks, and yeah, rest is history.
Yeah, it's rare for you to meet someone like we're the same age, we have similar interests, and we just basically saw this as one thing that we could do, and it's been working out great. So
Yeah,
How
we're
did
literally a few months apart in age,
yeah,
literally.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good
Yeah.
to say. How did you guys select the Culver Theater in particular, and how do you guys get access to having permission to screen those films? Because I would imagine that's a process, and that's one of the things that really fascinates me about this whole thing is A, that you can do it, and then, you're doing it. So
Yeah.
Serendipity. Real.
Yeah. We also do social meet. So in between the films, we have the week we have social meetups where people go. We go out for drinks. So it's a bit of a social club and film club. But what happened was we saw GoldenEye back. Was it November, Steve? I think
Yeah, it was November. It was literally like right after we started everything.
Yeah. And our first meeting happened, and like six people came, and we all had a good time. And someone mentioned that GoldenEye was going to be at the Culver Theater, so we all went, and it was great. And we met Tom, who is one of the programmers, and you started talking to them online, like you made our presence known.
Yeah,
And
we would just because we were kind of piggybacking
yeah,
off of what they were doing, and we weren't telling people, oh, this is our thing. We were just saying, hey, the Culver Theater is showing GoldenEye, and if we're all going to go see it, and afterwards we're going to have drinks. And it was just like I said, we were just kind of piggybacking off of what they were doing. And then that night, I saw Bruce Fierstein, who was the GoldenEye screenwriter, and he was there. That he introduced the movie that night, and I went, "Oh my God, Neil! There's Fierstein. Let's go over and say hi." And hell with it, man. We're running the club. Let's introduce ourselves, and that's how we met Tom. And we also met the Hellraisers social club, and they do horror movies at the
similar thing, yeah.
And so we got to meet those guys, and really cool, and got to meet Bruce. And after that screening, not too long after, Tom came to Neil and I and said, "Would you guys be interested in doing the James Bond series?" And
we were wanting to do it, and Tom was also wanting to do it because Tom's a Bond fan. So it took a lot of knocking on Tom's door for, I think it was like 3 months before he finally, it was after New Year's where he wrote me one day and was like, okay, we can do this. And it helps that the theater is owned by Amazon. So, and if people don't know it, Amazon is now in charge of the Bond films from the Broccolis. They paid $1 billion for the Broccolis to step back.
And full disclosure, we started having these conversations with Tom in the Culver Theater a good while before there was an announcement that Amazon
we had no
was
idea.
taking over. Yeah, we had no idea that was going on. And we were already told, because Amazon had the rights to exhibit the Bond movies, that they were going to allow us to do this at their pleasure. So that was already kind of in the works and set up. The Amazon announcement and everything was just kind of whoa.
Yeah,
that surprised us as much as anybody else.
Yeah, so through Culver, through Tom, he has the dish. He knows where to find all the films and for the distribution. So we basically gave them a list of what we wanted, and they were like, "Yeah, that's great." And Dr. No did really well. Living Daylights is already doing well with pre-sales. So so fingers crossed. We've already been given the okay for next year too. So that's
yeah.
Great.
We got our lineup. We got the movies picked out. And, we're going to be a little quiet about that until
Yeah, we're not going to say what it is, but I keep saying to people, if you want this to continue, go to the movie, pay to see it, because they'll screen them all. They'll go through all of them. But if people don't go, then they're not going to do it. But so far, so good. So
and we've been getting a lot of interest from people that don't live in Los Angeles who have told us, "Hey, we're flying out for View to a Kill. We're gonna visit LA, and we want to have it coincide with one of the screenings." And so that's also why we don't make surprise announcements that, oh, the next screening is going to be this. We announce them all at once for year so that people can plan their trips out here if they want to have a little Bond experience. Not to take any of David Zaritsky's thunder away. I didn't mean to say Bond experience like that, but to have a little.
That's his website. Well, that's his YouTube.
I didn't even think about that component, about how people like just planning that like a year in advance so people can fly out. I didn't even think about that angle. That's really awesome. Like, that's super cool.
Well,
go ahead.
No, sorry. Well, what's good is that these are all 4K. 10 years ago, they were all transferred to 4K. So a lot of these have never ever been screened in 4K. Like the Living Daylights has never been screened in 4K. It's not even available in 4K.
Yeah, so
a lot of these you're going to see for the very first time. That's why Dr. No looks so great. So
yeah, that's what I was going to mention too, is because it's the 4K restoration, and I was just blown away. Because don't get me wrong, it's nice to go at the New Beverly and just to see any film on the the big screen, and then of course
Yeah.
that's a nice little cell. Oh, you can see it in 35 millimeter, but to see it in 4K with sound restoration,
Yeah.
it's just incredible.
We even
Um,
had people say before Dr. No, we would get a couple of messages, not a lot, but a few people being a little, is it worth doing this? It's not on film, it's digital,
Mhm.
it's 4K. But then afterwards, after we showed Dr. No, all the messages after the fact were, holy cow, that
Yeah.
was incredible looking. That looked amazing. And
Yeah.
even when we're doing Thunderball in July, our special guest is going to be one of the stars in the movie, Luciana Paluzzi, who plays Fiona Volpe. And she was the guest of honor at the Turner Classic Movies screening of Thunderball recently. And we're going to be showing us the same 4K presentation. The day after, Luciana emailed me and said, "Oh my God, the movie looked incredible. Is this what you guys are going to show?" She was so excited about how it looked.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can only tell you guys, it may not be on film, and there is a magic to seeing a movie
Yeah.
on film, but seeing a movie as pristine as it is in this gorgeous restoration, it's an entirely different experience, and you don't want to miss it on the big screen. You really
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I agree because the whole like Dr. No thing again, because it was just a movie that I did like totally get as a kid, but I understood and acknowledged it because I understand it's like the very first, Bond
Mhm.
film.
Yeah.
But watching it as an adult, I totally got it, and I was like,
Yeah. I
okay,
love it.
I
Yeah.
can totally see why this kicked
Yeah.
off a whole thing.
It's transporting.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna just mention to you guys because this is like kind of like I guess like a curveball, like left field question, but relative to James Bond, what are like one or two of your favorite Bond songs or like Bond themes, like whether it's Shirley, Bassey or Sheena Easton? Do you have like a particular favorite?
I mean, I think nobody does it better is like I just like the song, but I think it really sums the character up in so many ways. And they still use that tagline for Bond still. And
Yeah.
that one, and I like the Moonraker soundtrack as a whole is really good. It's not even my favorite Bond film, but as a soundtrack, it's a wonderful soundtrack. So,
And for me, and this isn't because the we're doing the movie next. I've always loved The Living Daylights
yeah.
by Aha.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
It's such a driving, pulsing. I walk every day as part of my exercise, and I listen to that song all the time because it's got that like nice driving. It's good walking or jogging music, and the score, John, that was his last score for Bond, and it's one of my favorites. I have a hard time picking between that and Majesties as my favorite. And again, the other song that I love, and I think it's one of the most beautiful songs recorded in just music history outside of Bond, is We Have All the Time in the World by Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, that's very good.
And it brings me to tears every time. It also, that just the title of that song and the reference that it makes to what it's referencing in the movie and in the books as well. We Have All the Time in the World also is important to me because it reminds me that we don't have all the time in the world, and it's just beautiful and it's heartbreaking.
I think he died like soon after it too. He died.
Yeah, that was the last song that I think he recorded too.
Yeah.
So there's also that has that weight to it. And yeah, those I think those are probably like my favorite. I mean, it's always hard to choose. You know my name, and like Neil said, nobody does it better. And All Time High from Octopussy is kind of a soft spot for but there's Aha is because everybody knows Take on Me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's their big hit. But the fact that they did a James Bond song says a lot about how good a band they are. And we really don't know them outside of America, but in Europe they're huge. And I encourage everyone watching this to go find their unplugged version of The Living Daylights that they recorded a handful of years ago. It's amazing. Oh, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
So I have a confession. So I've only seen 18 out of the 22 films.
What?
Okay,
So
okay.
Sacrilege.
yeah, I saw On Her Majesty's Secret Service for the first time at the New Beverly, and that was like an experience.
You were
We were there.
there. All
Yeah, so
right.
I
Yeah.
totally get why that song hits like a chord because that was one of the few movies, like I mean, let alone James Bond movies, few movies that I saw where at the end of it, I had to just sit with that ending
That's great.
for a
Yeah.
while, like 6 hours, and I'm like, damn, dude, like what the heck happened? So
Heavy.
but I've seen all of them except for and what I'm cut. It's funny because I'm actually holding myself because I'm wondering if you guys are actually going to screen. And I know you're not going to announce like what you guys are going to do like next year or the year after, of course. But I've seen all of them except I have not seen The Living Daylights in full.
Okay, well,
So
Perfect,
I,
man.
that's
yeah,
great.
I
I'm
have,
excited for you to
yeah,
see it for
I
the
know.
first all the way on
The
the big
opening
screen.
is
That's gonna be
tremendous.
fun, man.
The
Yeah,
opening is one of my favorite openings for a Bond
Yeah,
film. It's so much fun,
mine
the
too.
opening.
It's so
Yeah.
exciting.
yeah,
And when we were 10 years old when Dalton took over the role. So to go from, and we love Roger Moore, we're Roger Moore kids, but to go from, suave and real slick
Yeah.
Roger Moore to, this rough and tumble Timothy Dalton that's like really high octane action. Oh man, yeah, that
Yeah.
was like getting slapped in the face.
yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I've seen like 20 minutes of it, like on TV. Like I've just never really fully gotten through it. And I don't think I've ever, I think I've seen bits of like License to Kill with
Yeah.
Robert Downey.
That,
So
that's
Yeah.
an insane movie.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but I love like the Pierce Brosnan films. Like
Oh yeah, it's all good.
I can't wait
Yeah.
for Die Another Day.
Yeah.
I'm
That'll be
jealous that
fun.
you guys got to see GoldenEye like not too long ago, and I would love, 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 hint, hint. I would love to see The World Is Not Enough on big screen because I just
So
yeah, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we're
Um,
doing them all eventually. So
yeah, well,
Yeah.
the theater has asked us not to front load it, so they want an uneven mix of good ones, and they're all good, but
Yeah.
like that they want an uneven mix of the highlights and the lowlights, and so we're trying to make
Yeah.
like a good mix. So,
Right.
but Dalton's great. He's the close. I mean, Sean Connery's my favorite, but Timothy Dalton is the closest to the novels and
Yeah.
what Fleming envisioned, and they did it on purpose that way. But I mean, he is the closest to what the books are, really.
Yeah.
So that
Even looks wise, I'm surprised they didn't give him a scar.
yeah, because in the
for-
books, Bond has like a light
He's
scar
got this
that goes
big,
down.
like a
Yeah.
gash across
Yeah.
his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
but yeah, no, but yeah, and next week we're gonna have as a guest a writer producer named Richard Shankman, who when he was 16, he's a writer producer now, but when he was 16, he started surprisingly in 1974 there were no Bond fan clubs or magazines, so he came up with the idea of doing it, and he did it till 1990. Is that what you told me, Steve?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Bondage went to 1990. So
Yeah.
I guess the fan club went that long
It
too.
was
Yeah.
16 years. So he began printing it in like his basement with his mom's help. And then eventually Cubby Broccoli, the producer, caught wind of what was going on and let him on the sets. So he was at the Living Daylights when it was being filmed. So he's going to talk a bit about that time and what he remembers and all of that. So he went to Living
Yeah.
Daylights and License to Kill. So those were the two films that he saw being filmed. So, but also just in terms of fandom, he's kind of the father of James Bond fandom.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So we always like to have guests. So if we can. So
No, it's a nice little feature to have that definitely adds to the experience for sure. And the Culver Theater, I mean, just for anybody that hasn't been there, I'm really blown away just by the quality and even
Yeah.
just seating, the arrangement, the viewing. I mean, it's really wonderful.
it used to be the ArcLight, and then the ArcLight went out of business, and then Amazon snatched this, they snatched it up, which is good. It's fortunate.
Yeah.
It's fortunate with our things. So that's
Yeah.
because when we
Serendipitous.
started the club, I had this idea of like maybe we can show films, but we found out that if you show a Bond film, you have to pay them, obviously, and
Yeah.
it's not cheap. We know someone in Boston, it cost them a lot, right?
Yeah. If you go to Q Branch Actual on Instagram, is our buddy Taylor Davidson. He was candid with us and said, man, we had to pay X amount of dollars to exhibit it at the Alamo Draft House out there, and they had a lot of
It was
Bond
Goldfinger.
brands,
It was Goldfinger.
they did Goldfinger, yeah, and they had a good turnout.
Yeah, but he was a little right up until the moment of he was a little like
Yeah.
apprehensive. So I mean, I'm glad it worked out. So we do
Yeah.
6 meetups per year and 6 film nights. So it's a good little mix, I feel. So we're pretty happy with that. So
Yeah.
And then yeah.
You guys go usually, I think we went to was it the Jameson pub? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's a good
That's
spot.
right around the corner.
Yeah, so that's a good spot right there. So
And 2-for-1 cocktails on
yeah,
Tuesday nights
until like
you know,
midnight,
so
whether you like it or not, basically.
yeah,
So,
Yeah. They also, I think they have like a taco special, like a Taco Tuesday
yeah,
special as well.
yeah, they
I
do.
think so. Yeah.
They also have like $18 prime ribs, which is insanely cheap too.
Yeah.
So there we
You
go.
should talk to Sonia. Sonia is the queen of Culver City, so she
Yeah,
knows all the places.
she
So.
does the publicity for downtown Culver.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's been going well. I mean, Steve and I were talking about that for an idea that we had. It's growing. It's really like we spend a good chunk of our time like working on it, and
Surprisingly, yeah. It's like,
you just cut our pre-show too, so we do
oh,
like
for
a
the
little
for the doll. We always do a pre-show
yeah
before our screenings, and Neil and I will trade off, so we're
Yeah.
not like ah.
yeah
So like Neil did the Dr. No, and I put together. I mean, we both put it together. We're
Yeah.
both picking the clips and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But the physical editing, like, we'll
Yeah.
trade off so that like I said, like no one is overloaded. It's a 50-50 kind of thing. Because when we went into this, the main thing I remember, I'll never forget this. Over gin and tonics, Neil and I looked at each other and said, "We don't want to be stressed, man."
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we also have our own lives and things as well, so we have to
Yeah.
tend to that. But yeah, we don't want to be stressed, and we haven't been. It's legitimately fun.
It's been good, and the fact that it's grown. The only thing, like, we're not stressed about it, but we are kind of like, whoa. The fact that it's picked up and kind of taken off as quickly as it has.
Yeah.
And with, like I said, we didn't know that there was going to be news that Amazon was
Yeah.
going to scoop up the creative rights and that Eon was going to pass the torch. And so, I mean, now, within the next 2 years, we're definitely getting a new James Bond movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of a right place at the right time for the two of us, really.
Yeah, and Amazon we haven't spoken to, but we know that they know that we're doing it. So
Yeah, they know what we're doing.
yeah.
So far, they're fine with it. So.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Amazon. We appreciate it.
Just to, I guess, to plug in the movies that you guys did. So obviously, you guys are doing the Living Daylights, but for those that are just like kind of tuning in, what is the slate for the remainder of this year, so they can kind of, plan it.
Well, next Tuesday we're doing Daylights, obviously, and then at the end of July is Thunderball, which is going to be a big one. It's the 60th anniversary, so we're happy about that. Then September is Die Another Day, and then in November is Voodoo a Kill. And
Should we?
What?
Is it definite? Is December definite?
December is gonna. They want us. There's gonna be a bonus one in December as well. So yeah, because they want to do that. So and do you want to wait on that, or do you want to?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it hasn't. There's nothing.
They haven't announced yet,
put out. So, but there's something going to happen in December, but we haven't gotten the official word
because they're very happy with the turnout and the ticket sales for them all, because they know what they're. I only know what they're making for Daylights right now, but I know the pre-sales are high for the rest of them as well.
Yeah.
So so.
And with Luciano Paluzzi coming to Thunderball. I mean, and that's a great movie to watch in July.
Yeah.
Thunder with the Caribbean
Tropical,
setting and the Bahamas and the scuba diving and all the good stuff. And it's very blue. It's a very oceanic, beachy resort kind of movie. We're gonna have special themed cocktails, like always. Every movie's gonna have a themed cocktail. But we encourage everybody for every movie, but especially for Thunderball, if you have cabana wear. Come in your cabana wear, because it's
a light blue outfit, light blue onesie.
We're gonna be partying like we're in Palmyra with Emilio Largo, and Fiona Volpe is gonna be there.
She is.
So
yeah.
Come ready to party.
That'll be fun. That she'll be my first Bond girl I've ever met. Actually,
really,
I've never met any of the rest of them.
Oh,
yeah,
I've met a number of them. I'm excited for Neil to meet.
Yeah, so
Bond girls finally. Yes.
But it's good. It's good. We also have a website that just launched this week too, so we're very happy about that. Yeah. The response has been good.
And 3 cheers to Neil. Neil put that website together.
It's good. It's www.toliveandletdieinla.com. So it's pretty easy. So
yeah,
very, very nice. So you guys got a bonus screen in December. Probably will announce that in the future. Uh, as far as like the future of Bond goes, because I know you guys had mentioned, yeah, because of everything happens, probably be a Bond film in the next like 2 years.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts given on like the state of that? Are you optimistic, or is there anything that you don't want to happen in relation to that? Because I know like there's like the Money Penny series that was like, kind of pitched around. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm naturally an optimistic person to begin with, and I love James Bond. So when I read that Amazon was taking over, after the initial shock, my immediate thought was like, well, there's going to be a brand new film. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we've just known the Broccoli's as producing it for all this time, so we don't want to see that element go. But it seems like they were moving on to different things,
Mhm.
and they'd only done two movies in 10 years, which is probably the worst. That I mean, really good movies, but it's just there wasn't that regular momentum, and I'd like to see that again. I'd like to see more merchandising. I'd like to see just more of the machine back that it was. So, and it looks like they're going to do it. I mean, the spin-off shows, we'll see. I'm not really into that. I don't think we need that. But if they're done well, I mean, I'll definitely watch them. I just don't want Bond to be like rammed into the ground. Like, I mean, people always bring Star Wars up. I mean, I still like all this. I mean, I like the majority of the shows that they've done, but I don't want people to not care about a Bond film
Right?
after points. So but I think Amazon knows that. I don't think they're dumb. They probably, well, they aren't dumb. They have read probably what people's concerns are. So hopefully we're just back to making Bond films. I think that'd be great. So
Yeah. My sentiments
yeah.
mirror Neil's. Like Neil said before, we're the same age,
Yeah.
we're into the same stuff, we're on the same wavelength always. And like Neil is, I'm positive. I'm looking forward to, oh yay, there's going to be a new Bond movie. And it's a little weird that it's not
Yeah.
Eon Productions, because this is what we grew up on, and there were Bond fans that are a part of our group and all over the world that grew up with Bond from the 60s, and for them it's an even bigger, it's a gut punch to be
Yeah.
like, oh, the family's not doing it anymore, and now
Yeah.
it's, for lack of a better explanation, oh, it's been swooped up into Amazon, the machine, but like Neil said, we only got two Bond movies in the last 10 years. And when we were kids, we got a Bond movie every other year.
Yeah.
And, I remember being, I used to read Starlog magazine, and I remember being, 9, 10 years old and reading all about Timothy Dalton and the new Bond, and not feeling like, oh, no, it's not Roger Moore anymore. I remember feeling really excited. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a new Bond. So Bond's just going to keep going, and it's just going to get more and more exciting. And my thought process with Bond hasn't changed since I was 10 years old. Every time there's been a new Bond, like when they cast Pierce Brosnan, I remember I used to watch Remington Steele when I was a little kid with my mom, and my mom always said, he's going to be James Bond.
Yeah.
Just look at him. He's going to be James Bond. And my mom was right. He ended up becoming, and there's a whole thing with Pierce Brosnan and Dalton and Living Daylights that it's a whole different podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we won't get into it, but the fact that like every actor that has become James Bond, I'm not somebody who's like, he's not right, blah blah blah, and I don't get into what ifs. I don't play with, oh, this guy should be good and this guy should be cast, and I'm literally a complete blank slate when it comes to Bond with everything, because I'm just going to trust whoever it is that's been put in charge to do this, to respect Bond and respect Fleming and respect the franchise and the history and the fans, and also take some chances.
Yeah.
Reinvent things a little bit, because when Bond is always at its best is when he reinvents it a little bit. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Casino Royale. People were losing their minds when those movies were getting made, and then when they came out, everyone went, "Hey, these are great." So I'm just gonna, not work myself into a tizzy, and just kind of wait until it happens, and see how the movie is when it comes out.
I mean, a lot of the fandom got really negative when they announced it, and I don't. I mean, the producers they put in place are very accomplished. Amazon wants a success. I mean, as we all do. So
Yeah.
I mean, I trust them. They know what they're. I mean, this is a big deal. So I mean, can
Yeah.
you imagine the anticipation for that film? It's going to be like off the hook. So
I wouldn't want their job, honestly, because
it's a lot of
to go
expectation.
to wake up every day and to have people say you hear what they're saying about you on social media,
Yeah,
and hell, even imagine being Daniel Craig,
yeah,
back in 2005, 6 when he was announced, and then people putting up websites
yeah. I
that were
remember that.
actively campaigning against his existence as 007, and he ended up making a classic as his first time out. So
Mm,
we're just trying to be real chill
Yeah.
mm.
and open-minded and just be cool about it.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, just hope for the best. I mean, I'm kind of on the same wavelength. I mean, I'm just kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean,
Yeah.
people, it's kind of nice. I mean, to have like a time window to kind of wait things out a little bit in between movies, because now I just feel like with a lot of different franchises, they're coming out with a new thing like every 3 months. It's like, guys, like give us a time to kind of fast and digest like what we
Mm.
just saw, so
It
we can
is like
and
it
appreciate.
is something. Neil brought it up with, like, Star Wars, and even with like Marvel, with all, and Marvel's taken a step back. They kind of learned, like, whoa, hey, we're oversaturating things. But with Bond, one of the things that has always made Bond so, consistent is that we're not constantly being hammered with, all this Bond stuff, oh, the world of Bond. No, no, no. When we go into the world of Bond, we're going into the world of Bond with James Bond. We're not going into the world of Bond. And even though Ian Fleming Publications has had some success with, peripheral stuff like the Q Adventures, and Raymond
Money
Benson
Penny
is a
Diaries. Yeah.
fantastic Bond. He's got a Felix Leiter book coming out. So, this is the kind of thing that a lot of Bond fans are like, well, we don't want all these different series that don't focus on Bond. And at the same time, it's working. When Fleming is doing it, people are really digging it. So it's the
We'll
kind
see.
of thing, I have a feeling that Amazon is going to test as many waters. They're going to dip their toes in as many waters
Yeah,
as
they're
they
gonna. Well, they
possibly
paid
can.
$1 billion for it, so
Yeah. So they're
Oh,
going
it's
to wait and see. And as fans, hey, who knows? I'm the kind of guy that's like, I don't want to see this, but at the same time, if they go ahead and do all these things, I'm gonna hope for the best,
yeah,
because I only want the best. I don't want the stuff that I love to not be good.
yeah. I mean, I've
I
also
want
read
it to
that
be
Jeff
fun. I
Bezos
want
is
to
a
look forward to it.
and allegedly Bezos is a big Bond fan, so that's
Yeah.
good. So hopefully, so you know.
Very nice. Well, to wrap things up, guys, I guess who would you like to see as the next James Bond attached with the director? I don't have any dog in the fight. If you're to, it seems like many years ago I probably would have said Clive Owen, but obviously that's probably not going to happen. But I
Yeah,
would say I
He'd
would
have
go,
been a good one. He'd have been a
yeah.
great Bond.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know? Yeah.
But I'm open to Pierce Brosnan coming back. Just throwing that out there first. If he wants to come back,
Hey.
oh man, James Bond,
Yeah.
I'm all for it, and they can close it out or have that one and then another new Bond come out after that. I don't know. Just throwing it out there,
I
Amazon.
I think they're gonna. I don't. I think any of the names we're talking about are probably not going to be the person that they choose. I think they're going to want someone relatively young because I've read that they want a 10-year contract. So with
Yeah.
this person, Bond in the books is generally 35 to like 45 or like early 40s. So it's probably going to be someone younger. I mean, Henry Cavill was very good, but he's 42 now. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not old at all, but I think for the character, it's a little older.
Both
So,
Dalton, Brosnan, and Roger Moore were Cavill's age when they took over
yeah,
the role. So,
yeah. So I
they
don't know.
were mid 40s, so
Yeah, but I think they're going to want someone younger. So
yeah.
that's my guess. And I just like it to be fun again, like more maybe a little more lighter. That would be my
Yeah.
wish. I mean, Daniel Craig, I love his films, but they were dark. They were some dark ones,
Why
especially at
so
the
serious, Mr.
end.
Bond?
I know. So I'd like to have a little more fun.
And like
Steve?
Neil, I'm with Neil on this. I'm looking forward to some fun, some escapism, a little globe trotting. I like what I like, so I love the ladies. So some Bond ladies, is they're always fun.
Oh yeah.
And in terms of a new actor taking over, I have no idea. Like Neil said, any of the actors that they've been talking about and that are rumored, they'd all be great. They would all be fantastic.
Mhm.
But like Neil said, it's probably going to be somebody that maybe we didn't consider, or they might even go and pick Cavill because people are
Yeah.
going Henry Cavill. But honestly, whoever ends up getting the part, I think is going to get the part because they're right for the part. They're right for the part at this time in our, kind of zeitgeist and popular culture. We always end up getting the right Bond for the right time.
Yeah.
And I don't like I said before, I don't like to do too many what ifs and what I would do because you put so much expectation on what's going to end up happening that you might inadvertently end up disappointing yourself because they didn't do it the way you wanted to do it. So I keep an open mind. Like I said, all the actors are really good choices, and whoever they're going to pick, I'm going to be happy for because he's going to be James Bond, and I want him to succeed.
Yeah.
And I've always been like that,
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, guys. I really appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you.
Where can people follow you and find you, and where can they get information on the event so they can subscribe to this information?
The club they can go to www.toliveandletdieinla.com. You can buy the tickets there. It's also our schedule for the meetups as well. And also Steve, what about Instagram and all that?
Yeah, we're on Instagram at To Live and Let Die in LA. You can also find our links on the website and stuff. And we're also on Facebook, To Live and Let Die in LA, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And we have our podcast that we do every couple weeks. Our last episode was with John Cox, and we had a previous episode with Steve Rubin. Our next one will be with Raymond Benson,
the author,
continuation Bond author. And you can find us on YouTube and currently on Spotify. Pretty soon we'll be on all the other podcast platforms, and we're To Live and Let Die in LA, the podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, that's it,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Yeah, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, be sure to like the video, subscribe.
David, thank you for having us.
Share it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Right.